kind of start with an opening statement about where things stand and what to expect for Saturday.
Yeah, we just walked off the field, Green Tree practice field for the last time this spring, and had a good day today. Worked a lot of situations, overtime, 1 minute drills, and third down, red zone type stuff. And it's been good. It capped off a good 5-week span at Hard Rock Stadium, and we're looking, or on Green Tree practice field, we're looking to get back into Hard Rock, on an ACC network national TV audience, and showing our progress that we made this spring. Before we go to questions, I do want to give out a list of guys that will not be participating on Saturday due to injury, and I'll kind of group them into when we can sort of expect them back at different parts of the rehab. So this first group should be cleared by the time we resume workouts, at the end of May and early June. Bubba Bolin, he'll miss. He's got a toe injury. Sam Brooks, and Bubba's been through almost just about the entire spring, just missed the last couple of days with that toe, and he'll miss Saturday. Sam Brooks is also still recovering with a toe. He'll miss Saturday. Sam has basically missed the entire spring. Been disappointing, but we know we've got a player in Sam, and we look forward to getting him back. And our medical people think that he should be fine by the time we get back for summer workouts. Will Mallory, we know, is still rehabbing from his shoulder injury, but he should be cleared by the time we get going for the spring. Jeremiah Payton, similarly with a knee meniscus, an operation from back in December. He's been limited. He was able to do some 7-on-7 type stuff here in the late spring, but Saturday will be too soon for him. He should be fine when we start summer workouts. And then Cleveland Reed, recovering from a pec injury, a muscle injury, should be fine for workouts, but he has not been with us this spring and will not be with us on Saturday. The following group will probably be cleared sometime more midsummer. And all these clear dates, these are all, of course, subject to guys hitting their benchmarks, but this group should come back, somewhere around midsummer. Elijah Arroyo came in, actually had a previous knee injury from high school that we had to get cleaned up and get taken care of. So, he'll be out Saturday, but we expect him to be back for summer. Al Blades is rehabbing from a stress fracture, so we should be able to get him back sometime midsummer. Marcus Clark with a jaw. Marcus probably got half a spring in. He's got a jaw situation he's been dealing with, but he should be back sometime midsummer. DeCorey Couch, same thing. He'll be out. He's had a neck injury. Should be fine sometime midsummer. We know Jade Silvera had an off-season surgery on his shoulder back in January. He's been rehabbing well. Expect him back midsummer. And same thing with Brian Balaam. Brian was actually same thing, rehabbing a neck injury. Something aggravated in the bowl game that actually got into a car accident that probably knocked him out of spring practice. So we haven't had Brian for the spring, but we look forward to getting him back cleared midsummer. Cleared for the start of training camp, Mike McLaughlin, mid-year offensive lineman, probably about half a spring in, had a patella injury. But we expect him back for training camp when we get back on the Green Tree practice field. And of course, Derek King, all signs still pointing to him being ready to go when we start practice back in August. And then two guys that we think will be cleared sometime around the opener, September, sometime right around that time frame, just depending on how rehab goes. Don Chaney with a shoulder injury, there was not necessarily one event, but just a shoulder injury that kept sort of popping in, popping out. So that's getting taken care of surgically. And then Dom Mammarelli also for a shoulder injury. Both those guys, again, like I said, we expect them cleared sometime around the beginning of the football season. So that's the group of guys that will not feature on Saturday. And we just wanted to at least get that information out there so y'all are not wondering on Saturday where those guys are. There'll be a bunch of guys that will feature. They've been practicing hard all spring and look forward to watching them go on Saturday.
Thanks for that update, Coach. We're going to start with Gary Furman from CaneSport for questions. Gary, go ahead.
Hey, Manny, how are you? So much of the talk of spring practice has been about the offense, and listening to you go through that injury list, I'm imagining that might have had something to do with it, that you were missing so many guys on defense. But can you talk a little bit about what you feel the defense has gotten out of spring so far, and just how it's gone for you taking over, and do you feel like you've been able to make improvements on that side of the ball despite all the injuries?
Yeah, what I think the defense is rediscovered is the love of stopping the run. We add the stats up in every practice, and treat every practice like a game in terms of yards per carry and run efficiency, TFLs, and all that type of deal. And and our front is starting to show signs of looking like a Miami front again, in terms of how we set a line of scrimmage and how we limit someone's running game. Football is not complicated. Defensive football is not complicated. Now, this school, it'll never be complicated. You're going to stop the run and we're going to hit the quarterback. And I think we've been able to do both. Obviously in spring practice, the quarterbacks are non-contact, but I think in terms of reestablishing our identity, I think we've been able to do that here in these 5 weeks.
Coach, we've got David Lake from 24/7 Sports. David?
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you, do you have a sense that this was a big spring for the team, for the guys on the team, in terms of having or getting more confident in the quarterback, the backup quarterbacks? Because, as you know, you never know when you're going to need those guys. And it seems like after this spring, the team might be more confident in those guys, whoever it is.
Oh, David, I think that's exactly what this spring has been. Everybody's got their own battle they're fighting in terms of, playing at their position or just improving themselves. But look, everybody watches the guy with the ball, right? It's hard not to notice. And if there has been one silver lining to missing Derek this spring is all the reps that the young quarterbacks can get, because there's no substitute for that. And even getting into Hard Rock, last Friday, being able to get in there again this Saturday. We don't normally get in there in the spring because of the tennis tournament, and it's different in there, and seeing the way that Tyler looked, poised. Jake looked at times, he had a couple throws and a couple decisions that were like, whoa, but then he settled down and still, he makes some throws that kind of make everybody rewind the tape and say, wow, that's impressive. So the whole team notices, because they know, as we found out a year ago, when they believe that their quarterback gives them a chance to win, everybody gains confidence from that. And I think Coach Lashley and guys on the offense staff, and they've done a great job of re-engineering our quarterback room in 12 months time. And I think everybody's got confidence because of that.
Coach, we've got David Furones from the Sun Sentinel. David?
Hey, Coach, could you give us an idea of how many players have experimented with different positions defensively this spring, whether it be specifically has Amari Carter tried some striker or Keontre at will, and are there any other examples?
Yeah, we've had Keontre at will. We've had Amari at striker. And I think they've both done a great job at those. I think Keontre at will is really, I think he's looked at home there. He actually played that position at Chaminade quite a lot. He just feels very comfortable, closer to the ball. And I think Amari, with his versatility in terms of we have a lot of versatile guys in our back seven, a lot of experienced guys, so being able to throw Amari closer to the ball, there's some skill sets that he has. Frierson can do some things. Frierson's got a lot of skill in that position. Amari's a little bit different skill set. He make you call some different things. So I think when we get all of our guys back in the fall, I think some of our versatility and the different looks we can provide an offense, I think will be more diverse because of guys like that can play different positions, not to mention our sub package is nickel and dime.
Coach, we've got Manny Navarro from The Athletic. Manny?
Hey, Manny. I wanted to ask you specifically about linebacker, just the way you sort of assess that position group. I know you said that if you didn't feel comfortable with it, you might look in the transfer portal or whatever, if that was a possibility. Just curious if you feel like you saw enough from that group to feel confident going into the fall.
Well, what we're going to do, Manny, is after Saturday, we do every year, is we're going to watch, last year, we watch our spring cut-ups, because that allows you to take a look back, because obviously day after day, you're grading every day's practice. And this allows you to sort of pull the scope back. You watch all the same type of runs against the same type of fronts, and sort of see how the defense behaves predicated on who the guys are in. I believe our linebackers have taken a step forward, as I would expect that they would have, but I think we've taken a big step forward this spring. It's just what we said we needed. I've been saying for a long time, Avery Huff just needed at-bats, and getting 5 weeks of at-bats this spring. Avery, he has made a big of an improvement as anybody on our entire defense. Corey Flagg, having his first real true off season in our program, and making some changes to his body and what his movement skills are reflecting that, getting, like I just talked about, getting Keontre Smith in the mix at will. So, continuing for Wayman and BJ to get further from their injuries. You know, we this time last year, we weren't even sure that those two would be able to play for us a year ago. So I think there's a lot of positive signs from the spring in the linebacker room, but we're still going to wait until see what Saturday looks like and then kind of put it all in there and analyze it all together and see what, and that's not just for linebacker, that's for the entire football team, see what we look like.
Coach, we've got a few more for you. We're going to go to Tom D'Angelo at the Palm Beach Post. Tom?
Hey, Manny. Manny, was having a full spring this year does it kind of emphasize or show you even more? And we know how much it last spring, but even more how much you missed out. And because of that, was it as important a spring as you've had because of what you missed last year?
Yeah, I absolutely think it was, because you can sort of divide the team into two groups. We have a lot of experienced guys who have used this spring to really refine some of the finer points of their game. You know, they've been through springs, but you know, whether it's we have a very experienced offensive line, but this is still just year two being with Garen Justice and being in this offense. You know, we got a lot of experienced DBs, but you know, now they've got new position coaches who are challenging them on some different techniques and different ways of doing things. So you got those guys, and then you got the younger guys who really are freshmen, redshirt freshman class, sophomore class that lost a whole offseason of development. You know, so it's hard to learn by watching someone else do it. You got to get in there and you got to do it yourself. So I think no matter where you are on the scale, I think it's been a huge spring. Now, obviously, you know, mostly everybody we played last year didn't have a spring as well, so it was equal footing. But to your point, Tom, I think just these 5 weeks you can see the difference in what it's made for some of our guys.
Coach, we've got Susan Miller-Degnan from the Miami Herald. Susan?
Hey, Manny. Who has impressed you, particularly at defensive end, and why? I wanted to know about DeAndre Johnson. I know he was out for a while because of health protocols. How has his pass rushing been? How much have you seen from him in team situations to make you think he's in the hunt for a lot of playing time?
Yeah, I think we've got a tremendous battle at defensive end. I think DeAndre is very talented. He's been able to show why he's here because he was out, as you mentioned. Came back a little out of shape for the tempo that we play with. It's just hard to sit out and sort of jump in with as fast as we go. But he's showing every day, you know, why he's here, and the great thing about him, he's eager to learn. You know, Cam Williams also missed some time for similar type reasons in the spring, which is just, man, because Cam's a guy that missed last spring, and you know his development is so vital. But when he puts it together the way that Coach Simpson shows him, he looks like a big time guy as well. I think what's exciting about us, and we've been this way in the past. We were really, you know, probably this way in 2017. You may even argue 18. I think we can go deep this year on our front four. You know, and where last year you obviously had, you know, a high profile guy like Jalen. And I'm not saying we don't expect a guy to have a Jalen type year. We've had a defensive end with 8 sacks every year for the last 5 years, but I think we can come at people and with our depth and really go hard and not have to pace ourselves. It was hard sometimes last year for Jalen and Quincy, how much they had to play because of the inexperience of the defensive ends behind him, like getting back to missing last spring. So I'm pretty fired up. You know, Jafari Harvey, Chance Williams, Zach McLeod. You know, like I said, there's one of those years maybe in 17 or 18 where I felt like we could go 4 or 5 deep at end. And I'm feeling the same thing now.
Last one for you, Coach. We got Mike DePasquale from WSVN. Mike, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, good morning. You touched on both sides of the ball, and you said it'll be a different look in the fall. Overall, what do you want to see on Saturday at Hard Rock Stadium from your team?
I want to see a clean scrimmage. You know, I want to see good execution on both sides. You know, two sides were making it difficult on one another. You know, guys making tough catches in the tough coverage, and you know, and every time that ball is handed off, it's a battle of wills, right? Because the offense is trying to run it better, and defensively is trying to stop the run better. You know, but more than that, you know, you just want to see. When I mean clean, you know, no misassignments, no penalties. You know, great effort, and obviously, you know, I want our guys to stay healthy. So. You know, we made a big point this spring about Miami not beating Miami, you know, and doing those things that we feel like, you know, can take us to the next level. We don't get an exhibition game, and it's hard for us to simulate what we think we'll see in Atlanta the first week in September. And I don't even mean by our opponent. I mean getting back into a big stadium, God willing, filled with fans. And so the more we can try to put our kids in any type of a stadium environment and let them go play, and get them calm in those type of situations, I think there's great benefit to us.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Coach Diaz, thanks for spending a few minutes with us today. We'll see you Saturday. Good luck.
Fantastic. Thank you all.